You're listening to the Business Wealth Impact Podcast, your source for empowering information and cutting-edge ideas from the world's top minds. I'm your host, Jeanne Amlour, founder of seven-figure coaching company, Jeanne Amlour International. Join me on a journey to unleash your potential and create your highest success. Welcome to Business Wealth Impact. Hello and welcome to another show. We have Carol Look as our guest today. Carol is a leading psychotherapist, founding EFT Master, international speaker, and creator of the Yes Code, helping clients release limiting beliefs and achieving lasting success using EFT-based methods. Welcome, Carol.
Hi, Jeanne. Nice to be with you.
Great to have you here. So, Carol, first of all, a lot of people aren't sure what EFT means or what it is. Why don't you just explain what that is first?
EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, and now everyone just calls it tapping. And what we're doing is tapping on acupuncture points. At the same time, we've brought up something that distresses us, and it calms down your fight or flight response in your brain. So whether you're afraid of driving, or you're afraid of flying, or you're worried about your success issues, or you're having a fight with someone in your family, or you have cravings, what happens is the two get paired. Something you're upset with, pair it with the tapping on the acupuncture points, and it calms you down. So it's an incredible self-help tool and therapeutic tool for people in any discipline.
Now, really Carol, the funny thing is we met many, many years ago, and you don't remember because I did one of your EFT in-person programs in New York City. This is a long time ago. This is probably almost 20 years ago. So, wow. Yeah, so I'm a fan, and I obviously started doing this 20 years ago. It's been great to have you here after meeting in person. Okay, so I love it. We have seen it's effective. Many, many people in the world are using this now. It's nothing new, okay? And now you've come out with a new book about the combo of EFT tapping and gratitude. So first of all, show us your book, and if you could say the name of it for people that are just listening.
Yes, thank you. Tapping into the superpower of gratitude.
Okay, so you created a new recipe here with gratitude and EFT. So tell us a little bit more about that combo.
Well, what was really interesting, Jeanne, is I was researching the book for the gratitude work, and you know that the research has come out about EFT just in the last decade. So 20 years ago, when you and I met, it worked and people would tell their doctor about it or tell their therapist about it, but there was no research. Now the research is out. So what I did is I combined the research of EFT with the research about gratitude. It's not just fun or feels good to do a gratitude list. There is profound details and data and research about what it does to your physiology, to your longevity, to your health, to your self-esteem, to your serotonin levels. It's really exciting. So I combine the two together. And what I do is use EFT on the challenge. So that's the traditional. You use EFT to lower your stress levels, you're upset about anything that's going on in your life. And what I do is now add your gratitude list, add tapping while you're doing your gratitude list or saying things you appreciate. And the combination seems to be, well, for me, it's been very, very powerful. So I added it in my work years ago. And I just think it's different because you know this, Jeanne. People will say, oh, sure, I did my gratitude last night. They didn't really. They did a little checklist and knocked it off their list and said they've done it. That's not what we're supposed to. We're really supposed to tune in to our gratitude. So I find it has a big effect on people and myself when I'm doing the two together.
It's so funny that I actually would do that. I figured that out. I used to do, I don't do it all the time. I started to tap with gratitude. It's funny saying that I actually was doing that. So I guess great minds think alike, right? Okay.
Absolutely.
So you're saying though, doing a gratitude list, and I agree with you, is not as powerful as adding the somatic, the physical and also the nerves of the acupuncture yes. points of deeply realizing the gratitude through doing the tapping, correct?
I find that people are doing this surface level gratitude, so they're not really in it. But when you're tapping, if you've lowered, let's say, a stress level and you've lowered it a few points and you feel much better, the gratitude actually has a place to land. It has a place to go. So you've worked on your stress levels, you're upset and gotten that down. And then you're saying, and I'm grateful for this, or thank you, universe, for a resolution to this problem, or I appreciate this. And to me, it's totally, totally different because the research on gratitude shows that, same as EFT, you need to be in it. You can't be just walking down the street and tapping and not really paying attention. Well, you can't do that with gratitude either. You need to be present in your body, where you are, focused, and then both tools are dramatically different and more powerful.
So you are saying to make it a meditation. It's not, hey, I'm grateful for this. Although I must say, even merely writing down my gratitudes, yes, I have found that does work because I do a long list. And I think the longer you sit with it, you realize what you're saying more if it's not a quick thing. I've noticed that when I do a long list of everything, it gives me the time to reflect while I'm writing because it becomes a meditation.
Because you're focused on it. And writing gratitude does work, but so many people are just checking it off the list that even though they're writing, they're not really paying attention. So you're somebody who's tuned in, really focused and present. So it is meaningful to you. And that's what all the studies show, is that when someone's really paying attention and they're not doing it just off the top of their head, they're in the state of gratitude. That makes a big difference. Well, now let's tap at the same time. And then we got to, double the results.
More bang for your buck for the time. Okay. So when did you discover the combo and what made you write this book?
Well, good question. So the combo I did years ago, what happened in the EFT world, I don't know if you remember this, is many people came along and said, we're not supposed to focus on our stress. That would be bad. Law of attraction people thought you weren't supposed to say anything that was negative. That's not factually true. Oh no, it'll stick to you. That's not factually true. If anybody's done basic talk therapy, basic EFT, that's not what happens. So I started adding. So they would add just positive statements and they wouldn't focus on the distress. Well, that's not what the technique or the tool is made for. So I would do a couple of rounds around the distress and then add either the positive or a grateful statement or a sequence of statements afterwards. And it felt very powerful to me. So then the book, my first book was the Yes Code about my coaching and sabotage behavior. And this one felt like, hey, the research is there for EFT. Let's do the gratitude work that I've wanted to do for years. And when I started to poke into the research about gratitude, I was surprised. I know it's good for you, but I didn't know that your cortisol levels go down 25% and your happiness levels go up and your serotonin levels go up. I didn't know all that. I just know what people say in the self-help field, which is expressing gratitude is good for you. But it's serious research about it. So when I started doing that, combining them together, I wanted people to be able to focus on the stress, release it, and then add positive later, add the gratitude, and again, bang for the buck, as you said, and really look at why they didn't. The other reason I wrote the book is because I had plenty of blocks to feeling better. And we have to find out why we don't want to feel better. People are like, oh, sure, I didn't do my tapping. I know it works, but I don't do it. What do you mean you don't do it? Oh, I know that gratitude works. Sure, but I forgot last night. Why do we get involved in that? Why do we not want to feel as good as we possibly can feel? So that's the other reason I wanted to write it and really give people the tools together because it's so simple. You know how simple it is.
Well, it is, but there's so much we could be doing. And if you were doing everything that we were supposed to be doing, you'd spend your whole day doing self-development. And we actually also have jobs to do. So that's why some people don't fit it because, there's that and there's maybe the working out, or maybe some people do yoga and they pray and the meditation and, it's a big chunk, right? And right. So you are talking about counter tapping. That is classic EFT that you shine a light on the demon, right?
Yes.
And then you even though this is so awful, you're recognizing it. Then you counter tap, right? Isn't it called counter tapping? Where then you go to the positive, right? That's a classic EFT structure. I think it was who's the guy? Gary Craig that created
Gary Craig. Yeah. Gary Craig started it, and Pat Carrington added the positives later, the choice statements.
Right. Okay. So it was always delving into, and even like the worst possible, what was it? Turbo tapping, was it? I think it was something where it was the worst possible case scenario. And then you go around, because then you're like, actually, it's not that bad. So I think that used to work with me, is not pretending everything's rosy. It's to go into the darkness and shine a light on it. That's kind of what classic EFT was doing, wasn't it?
EFT focuses on your distress, brings it down with a statement, even though I have this problem, I accept myself, all of my feelings, right? That's what it does. It focuses on what's wrong, what's going on in your life that you wish were different, or your feelings that are upsetting. And the mechanism brings it down, brings your stress levels down.
For sure.
So I don't remember it being called counter tapping, but it's just tapping on the issue, bringing down your distress. Then you feel better, and then you have access to more places in your brain that are brilliant, honestly.
Right, for sure. I used to use it a lot, actually. Again, used to, see? Every now and then I'll remember, okay, I do other stuff. There's other stuff that you do. But I'm big on gratitude. And Sean Akor, you're right about the happiness. Sean Akor, who's this big happiness expert, came up with 5 things to do. And the number one is write down, or, focus, write down at least 3 things a day, because that takes 2 minutes or a minute, right? And there's other things, but the gratitude is at the top of the list of his studies, all the studies. Literally, gratitude was the one thing. If you did it every day, you will be happier. Who doesn't want to be happier, folks? Right? Okay. So how do people do this then? They just merely, it's that simple. They tap on the points, which they'll get from your book, right? And they can say anything. It doesn't even have to be specific words. It can be, I'm so happy and grateful to that. Or thank God for this. Basically, some way of expressing gratitude. But you said a few different setup phrases. So are there any amount of, just so it's expressing gratitude, it's going to work?
So first of all, I want to address what you said earlier, which is that who wouldn't want to be happier? Mm-hmm. A whole bunch of us. Are blocking happiness and sabotaging happiness because we feel safer being under the radar. So that's just a huge portion of my work, where people are surprised that they're not happy, or surprised they're not doing any of the things that are good for them. So that's one thing. So what I do is still do regular EFT. The client comes in and says, or a workshop, here's my issue. Here's what I'm concerned about. I have money issues, financial problems, worries, fear of success. And we do that with EFT. Even though I'm afraid of success because I'm worried about their reactions, right? I accept myself anyway. So you do that until your fear is down significantly. Mm-hmm. Then you have room for the gratitude. And I have several different ways that I access it, which is thank you, universe. Thank you, universe, for sending me a solution. Thank you, universe, for all that I have in my life. Or I appreciate. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate so many friendships in my life. I appreciate Jean for this wonderful podcast, whatever you want to do. Mm-hmm. And being able to say, I am grateful. I'm grateful for this in my life. So many ways to do it. But I say to people, wait until you've gotten your distress down, because stress is very distracting. That's what people don't understand. They're not present. They're not focused, myself included. We're doing 5 things at once. And that's why you don't get a lot of power from your gratitude list. There are plenty of people who are doing it well. That's great. If you want to turbocharge it, another word you used earlier, then you want to get the distress down so that you have more spaciousness, emotional spaciousness to say, I am grateful, and not just grateful, 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 but I feel grateful for this. I love what I learned. I appreciate the lesson. Thank you, universe, for showing me how to resolve this issue. So while you're tapping, but I always start with a couple of rounds very quickly on the distress the person is focused on. Mm-hmm. What's really got them engaged.
Mm-hmm. The charge. You're getting the charge. Yeah.
Engages us.
No, I love that you said this, because I agree with you. Every morning I clear charges while I'm in bed, because without clearing the charges, you're not a clear conduit. There's all this stuff. And it's so important, I think, in some way to figure out. I do this thing where I emotionally regulate, and I do think like, what is bothering me? And I call it my instant shift technique. And I actually can go from a 10 to a 0 where I'm like, okay, now I can start my day, because we wake up with these thoughts somewhere and people don't actually pull them to the forefront and go, what is that? Oh, actually, I'm worried about this. I'm worried about that. And that's bothering me. And I address all of them and get to a, okay. And then I find, as you said, everything else we do works better because there's not all this stress, right?
Stress, noise, distraction, shiny objects, upset, as you say, that's operating behind the scenes where we feel a little icky, but we're not sure why. We need to bring that forward so that we can clear it.
Okay, I love it. I'm doing the right thing there. Now I do this in bed because usually we get that wake up in the morning problem. Like, what's that? Oh, that's right. That's bugging me. And actually today I woke up, to be quite vulnerable, with a lot. There were so many. I thought, wow, there's big ones, there's small ones, there's some that I'm not really thinking about. There's some things that I should have done. And, a lot. I was surprised. Some days it's just like one little thing. So I had a lot of clearing this morning, to be honest. Then I did a walk. Okay. So, what are the results? Now you wrote the book. When did the book come out?
June, 6 months ago.
Okay. But you've been doing this work anyway for a while before you wrote the book, obviously. What have you noticed a considerable difference in the effect, in the success rate since you started adding the gratitude piece? Has it made a big difference?
I've noticed that people feel happier. They feel more drawn to doing it. They feel connected. So whenever we're disconnected from a tool, a technique, a person, we're not all there, right? And I find that people feel more connected to their self-help work and their techniques when they're adding the gratitude to it. So I can't prove it. I haven't done research on my own work, but people's feedback is, oh, that makes a difference. I certainly know it has for me. That makes a difference. They feel in it more. They feel invested. And it's kind of fun. They feel that it's exciting to do it. It's exciting to add the gratitude.
Right. Now, they have done studies on the effect of handwriting things. So there has been these studies that you handwrite your gratitude. There is some neural thing happening. So I'm feeling like, well, should we do both then? So we're getting that effect as well as the physical, effect.
I love that study because it does say something happens in your brain when you're physically writing it down with a pen, not typing, by the way.
Yes.
Not typing on a computer, but writing it down. I'm so happy and grateful now that you can do both. You can do that, then do the tapping, but the same mechanism is happening where we're doing we're doing something physical. And in this case, we're accessing the meridian system in the body. So doing something physical, writing on a piece of paper with a pen, I'm so happy and grateful, does something to the brain. Well, we know now with the studies that tapping on acupuncture points is accessing your entire nervous system.
There's a triplex here. There's a trifecta combo now. Now it's your thing with the writing so that we're getting, because I was thinking, I do like writing because it just feels like I'm writing it. However, you could do both and really maximize, because you do your list and then you can read your list out while you're doing it, right?
You got it.
Yet another task for us to do every day. Add that to your meditation, folks, and your working out or whatever sport you're doing. Okay. All right. So is there something else that the book talks about?
The book talks about my blocks that I ran into that are so common with human beings, which is that I had low self-esteem from my family. I was focused on fixing them. So gratitude wasn't a thing for me. I'm sure people were talking about it, but I was so busy. I was so engaged in trying to help my family. I wasn't paying attention to it. Right? Then there's the sabotage part, which is a lot of people want to feel better, but they don't do the very things that make them feel better. Why is that? Because you're trying to stay safe. The only reason we get in our own way, Jean, is because we want to feel safe. And if that means we stay under the radar, we're quiet, we don't stand out, we're not visible, we're going to move heaven and earth to do that. Right? So we need to have enough space emotionally to say, I want to go that direction. I'm not so focused on what's going on over here. And we have to feel like it's a good idea to be at our very best. Now, some people listening might say, of course I want to be at my best, but they don't do what they could do that is available and free and, right there for them to be their best. And that's really the heart of it, is going to understand what's going on? Why wouldn't you want to feel better? Because you feel okay? Or because you're afraid of other people's reactions? We need to find the safety link. So, we are wired for safety. We're not wired for success.
No, we're not. Actually, I was just going to talk about that. Did you know that only 2% of human beings see success as something that's a necessity? The other 98%, it's merely a preference. Okay. So, because people have said, well, doesn't everybody want to be successful? And apparently Darren Hardy, the success guru, he was saying that no, actually only 2% of people are driven for success, and the other 98 as well. It's not too hard. Sure. So maybe it's the same for happiness. It seems like everybody, it would seem to me, look, the human condition is not that everybody wants to be successful. That's not the human condition. The human condition is most human beings want to be happy, right? Because success is something different, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's interesting, but it sounds to me that maybe not all human beings want happiness.
Well, there's the consequences. So I'll say to people, what's the upside of staying stuck? And they're like, what are you talking about? What's the upside of staying stuck? And then they'll say, oh, I know what you're talking about. If I become unstuck in my life and feel happier and accomplish the goals that I want and have the relationships I want, it's going to rock the boat. So it's not that we don't want to, it's that there are consequences to being at your very, very best.
For sure. And I went through that and I got past that. And then when you get past that, then you truly do want to grow your happiness.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I'm clearly not trying to hide. But I used to. I used to try to. So I understand, and you're correct. It took years for me to get past all of that. Years. And now I feel in a good space. Of course, I'm human, but now it really is a mission, like to be happier and more fulfilled, actually.
And help other people.
Help other people, yes, and fulfill our missions and our passion projects. Okay, Carol. So now, would you say that you've sort of gotten yourself past that hump, and that you truly are, full steam ahead, wanting to develop higher levels of happiness?
Yes, full steam ahead. And I had all the humps that everybody does, which is, my family is going to be upset. My friends are going to be upset. Colleagues will be upset. What's going to happen when I shine as much as I can possibly shine? Well, I found out. Some people are not happy with it, right? So you have to resolve that conflict in yourself and then not worry that other people are going to be upset or have issues or be jealous, whatever it is, right? Once you get past that, the sky's the limit. And that's what's been really exciting, is that I can help people get past whatever their issues are. It could be 100% different than mine. I help people do that so they can really feel filled and be giving to others, like have space to give to others, not be afraid of people's reaction.
It's so interesting. I didn't care about all that. Like, I never cared, because it's my life. And why would I care whether somebody... that surprised me that people were afraid of what other people thought about. It never occurred to me. It was other stuff. But do you know what I mean? That is a big concern. I've seen that with clients, that they're so afraid of what other people are going to think of their success. I'm like, why does it matter? Just do your thing, go for it. Like, oh, okay. But I've realized that that's something that is big for most people.
Because it's unsafe. It triggers something that feels unsafe to them. So if you weren't raised that way, you won't have it. You'll have your issues. I'll have my issues. We'll have our family issues. I say to people, if you grow up in France, you're going to speak French. Sorry, that's just what happens. So whatever the issue is that blocks you from really being at your best every single day, you just have to ask the right questions, find out what it is. Then you can tap through it and land on the next level.
That's right.
Go to the next place.
Right. Well, I'm definitely going to try the combo now of the tapping again, because I did that a bit, but now that I know it's a thing, I can go full steam ahead with that and do the combo and see what happens. Okay, this wonderful wisdom. So what's one thing you want to leave people with? What's a philosophy or a mindset that you just live by?
I would say you can always feel better, get better, and do better in your life. And that includes receiving and includes giving. So I'm here, apparently, in this lifetime, as you are, to give a lot to other people, but really enjoy the process. So you can always enjoy your day a little bit more, even if the world looks like it's falling apart around you, right? You can always feel better and feel more peaceful and raise your vibration. We have that power. So no matter what someone is doing outside of you, what's happening at work, your family, the world, you can raise your vibration and feel better. And that's apparently part of our mission, your mission and my mission, to help people.
Exactly. And that's true empowerment, actually. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you, everybody, for listening to this show or watching it. And we hope that you love these shows. And if you do, why not write a review, a good one? And why not share this with everybody? And we'll see you on the next show. You're listening to the Business Wealth Impact Podcast, your source for empowering information and cutting-edge ideas from the world's top minds. I'm your host, Jeanne Amlour, founder of seven-figure coaching company, Jeanne Amlour International. Join me on a journey to unleash your potential and create your highest success. Welcome to Business Wealth Impact.